Welcome to Love and Relationships for the Modern Mystical Life. I'm your host, Juliana Christine. We are in a relationship revolution. The scripts we inherited from our families, culture, and every love story we were ever told aren't working anymore. But the new way hasn't been written yet, and I'm here to write it with you. This podcast goes beneath the surface of all your relationships, past the advice into what's real, the messy, the tender, and the beautiful. Come on in. Welcome back. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Today, we're going to talk about this phrase that me and some girlfriends came up with at my dear friend's bachelorette. This was kind of like unlike any bachelorette I've ever been to. I think I talked about it in a previous episode. The phrase is connected and afraid. Let's just sit with those two words for a moment here. Connected and afraid. So when I feel into those two words, they almost feel contradictory. They do. Because there's this desire and connection to feel completely relaxed, for fear to dissipate, to go away. And I think that's because really, in the grand scheme of things, we don't want to be afraid. Fear is debilitating. Fear is challenging. It has us believing all of these assumptions about ourselves, about other people, and about the world. And I truly believe in the grand scheme of things, all of us really just want to be able to connect to our heart. So before we dive in, I'm just inviting you to open your heart to this contradiction. Is it possible to feel connected and afraid? So when we look at this, it actually makes a lot of sense from a physiological standpoint. You see, we are wired to belong, and that's through the nervous system, through the vagus nerve. If you took away all of our modern amenities, we need each other for survival. We need people to help us. We could not survive without help from other people. So the feeling of connection in the nervous system is linked to, oh, I'm connected to you, so I'm safe. And the fear comes up because that's a threat to the safety and to our survival. And so this brings us back to the thing that we all do is because we are wired for survival, and that is our prime operating system in these physical bodies, even if you know that's not what you need, like you will survive if your relationship has struggles or if a relationship ends. There will be an element of, I'm going to give up a part of who I am in order to make this connection last because I need to survive. So you can think of this sometimes, if you ever notice yourself like choking back your words or doing something you don't typically want to do that we could call self-abandonment in order to maintain the relationship, there's a true biological function for this. And so can you take a minute and give yourself some compassion there? That's our bodies just doing what they're wired to do so we stay alive. And these types of coping behaviors can look like people pleasing. So where we are hyper-focused on what another person might need so that we feel useful, so that they feel happy, relaxed, joyful, so that we feel that way. Another one is humor. The class clown, right? These people use humor in order to create connection. You might also be someone who listens intently and tries to support someone all the time, tries to fix things for them. Again, that's another way that we create connection while in fear. And what happens in this, while it is a true connection opportunity, there is also a place where we abandon ourselves in that, where we give up vital parts of who we are in order to hide the fear. You might also pick up your phone when you're feeling uncomfortable in a conversation. I see people do this a lot. You see people do this at a coffee shop or in a restaurant when the person that they're with gets up and goes to the bathroom, let's say, and they automatically pick up their phone. That's a dopamine hit to the brain for the phone, but it's also a coping mechanism because, now I'm all alone here and I don't know how to be alone while I wait for the connection to return. So in order to create or be in connection with another person and to be afraid, this takes an element of, I'm going to show myself. I am going to risk being seen in my fear. I'm going to risk feeling connected to this person, even if I'm afraid of their response. And this truly can only really begin when we have a connection to our inner wisdom, to self, your connection to your body, your connection to your intuition, your connection to your perceptions and your beliefs. We will often override our body's signals, our intuition, in order to create connection so that we don't feel alone. But then what happens is we disconnect from ourselves. And so there's like, I'm going to cut off who I am in order to feel safe with you. But the tricky part is then you don't feel safe with the other person because you're not safe within yourself. So your first relationship in this place of feeling connected and afraid is to be with the wisdom that lives inside your own body, your connection to your inner divinity, your inner spirit. And because if you're cut off from that, if you skip that part, every relationship will feel a little bit off, no matter how loving the person is in front of you. The person in front of you could be absolutely perfect. And if you're cut off from yourself, you will continue to not have the depth of connection with the other person. As I'm saying this, a dragonfly just bumped up against the window that I'm looking at a couple of times. Thank you for confirmation that we're here to do things differently. Dragonflies, this is a bit of a sidebar, but I'm just going to share this story. So dragonflies start as little, I don't know what you call them, larvae in dark, dense, thick water. And they cling on to grasses or reeds that go up out of the water. And in order to transform into the dragonfly that it becomes, it needs to crawl up this grass or reed towards the light. And it doesn't know what's up there. Like it has no idea. It's just going, I have to move towards this light. It's a biological imperative within the dragonfly. And then as soon as it moves into this light, this alchemy begins to occur within their cells and they transform into a dragonfly. So this is what we're essentially doing as we are connecting while being afraid with another person. We are moving towards a spark of love and light that is always available to us, but sometimes we don't know how it's going to unfold, what's going to happen on the other side. And that's why we have to be deeply connected to ourselves while still moving forward in fear. The deepest relationships that I have such an honor of having around me now is because of this. I have stepped through and into connection, even while feeling afraid. I have risked exposing tender, vulnerable parts of who I am so that I can create a deeper level of connection. I can crack my heart open a little bit and go, this is who I am. This is me. And when we do that, we invite another person in to see us, and then they crack open a little bit. I got a really lovely lesson in this just this week. And it's with my friend, Gabriel, who was on the podcast where we talked about joy. And ever since our friendship started and we started working together, we have had this really beautiful honesty between the two of us. So when we ask each other, how are you? We're honest. And the other morning at the gym, I was there 6 a.m. and I had been having I'd been having an internal process. This happens often for me. I'm processing another emotional thing that's coming up, another idea. I am confronting fear within myself. It's bringing me into deeper connection with myself and the divine. And it's normal for me. It's just how I continue to move through the world. And he came in and asked me how I was. And I just said, I'm all right. And as soon as I said that, I was like, oh, I didn't feel good. Like I wasn't truthful in that moment. And I could feel him feeling me that that wasn't the whole truth. But it was 6 a.m. Like I had a lot of compassion for myself. It was 6 a.m. But I noticed that in our collaboration and our work together, I don't want a relationship with him or with anyone else who is really, truly close to me in my life. I mean, even my clients, I'm very truthful with, right? And so I got home and I could feel this, this wasn't authentic. And I could brush it off. I'm like, oh, it's 6 a.m. I don't have to say anything else about it. I can let it go. But my inner wisdom, my connection to my inner guidance system that I am deeply connected to, you could call it your intuition, you could call it your higher self, whatever feels correct for you. I was like, no, just send him a message. Just send him a message and let him know how you're feeling. And I had to have a bit of why would I do that? It's so vulnerable. That feels scary, right? To let someone into my internal process. It still feels scary. And I am committed to connection. I am committed to being connected and afraid. So I sent him a text message and I said, hey, this is actually what's going on. And I'm really committed to being honest with you. And of course, he received me beautifully. And our work together just continues to flourish because of this level of connection that we step into, even if I can't speak for him, but I'm going to speak for myself, even if I'm afraid, right? That is the truth of what is available to us when we step into connection, even when we're not sure how the other person is going to receive us. And the truth is that sometimes people won't be able to receive us. And that's why the inner connection with self is so imperative, because people are people. We make mistakes. We have our own shit going on sometimes. And sometimes we just can't receive or be received by another person. So when you're connected inward, it makes risking connection and fear in external relationships a little bit safer, because you're not relying on the other person to feel the connection. You have that within yourself. And these are how small these moments are for us to be able to create deeper levels of connection within and without. They happen in a moment, right? I do this in the grocery store often. when I'm going through the checkout. And if I can see that the cashier in front of me has a little glimpse of like, oh, I'm open to something, and she asks me how I am, I'll be completely honest. And then I'll ask her or him how they are. I started practicing this when I waitressed, when I was in college. And I was starting this path of being connected and afraid. Can I create deeper connection with people instead of the standard, especially here in Canada, how are you? It's like a greeting. It's like saying hello. And I remember the first time I did it, there was a mother and daughter in my section at a table, and they were just lovely. You could feel their hearts and their excitement for being in Vancouver. They were visiting. And the mother looked at me and said, "How are you?" And I could feel it was an opportunity. And so I looked at her and I said, "Do you really want to know?" And her eyes just started sparkling. And that was risky. As a waitress, that was risky because it's like you can really turn a customer off. And then that impacts your work and your tips that you're making, right? Like everything's about the relationship when you're waitressing. And her eyes just sparkled. And then I was truthful. And then she and her daughter were truthful to me. And it created this beautiful connection between us. And I stepped through the fear because I was trusting myself to go, oh, I think I could do this here. So before I go any further, I'd love to invite you that if you've been enjoying this podcast, this is episode 12 now, if you could please follow or share or leave a rating on whatever podcast platform you listen to this on, that would be really helpful. It helps me reach more people who need this shift in perception around what relationships are like, or what relationships have the potential to be, what's available to us. So how's this landing for you? To create connection while being afraid. Can those two coexist for you? Does that feel possible for you? And if it doesn't, if you're like, no way, how do I do that? That's okay. What I'd love for you to do for a moment is check in with yourself. As you're listening to this idea, what's going on in your body? You can take a moment and just like close your eyes and take a couple of breaths. This is how we connect with ourselves first. What are you afraid will happen if you're honest with someone you care about? Can you remember a time when you choked back what you really wanted to say because you were scared of what another person would think of you? See if you can just breathe right down into your belly and notice what's happening. And you don't need to change anything here, right? This isn't about getting rid of fear. It's about acknowledging what's going on inside first. What is happening inside? This is connecting you to the true, authentic you in this moment. Like I can feel inside of me that I have tiny little butterflies flitting around in my low belly. And they're there, and maybe it's because I don't really know why. I don't really know why they're there right now. Because this podcast is still new to me and I'm still practicing sharing my vision and perspectives and offerings to you. Maybe that's why. It is a feeling I get every time I record a podcast, right? There's a little worry. Oh, is this person on? Are you going to be able to understand what I'm talking about? And so then as you connect in with that feeling, sensation inside of you, what are you afraid of? Right? I just named my fear. I'm afraid maybe you won't understand me. I'm afraid maybe you'll think that I'm too much. That's what I thought when I was resisting, before I messaged Gabriel. Oh, he might think I'm too much. And then, so this is another step, and this is something that I do with all of my clients that we really deep dive into, where you connect to your inner wisdom. this higher version of yourself, and you ask the question, what would I do if I trusted that I'd still be loved even with showing this part of who I am? What would I do? What's the step that I would take? Taking 3 slow breaths here while you listen to the next step. And sometimes these next steps are really simple. Like, oh, take 3 more breaths. Oh, share something really sweet. Like one of the things that I've been doing lately is I tell my friends regularly how much I am in love with them, how grateful I am for them. I don't hold that back because it's just welling up inside of me. And that in itself can feel scary, because that in itself risks like how much another person means to you. And that goes back to our nervous system. That's like, if this person leaves, I might die, right? Which doesn't make sense in our modern world. But in the physiological wiring of your nervous system, whose only job is it to keep you alive, that is what comes up. So then, as you receive this next step, see if there can be one tiny little action. It might be, I'm going to stay present and keep eye contact while I have this conversation. Or if we go back to my example of sitting in the coffee shop and your friend gets up to go to the bathroom, I'm going to leave my phone away and just sit here by myself and breathe until they come back. Or you might say, I feel nervous sharing this, but I want to share this with you. Can you listen? And this has to come from that internal wisdom inside of you, right? That inner little whisper that you have, that we all have. We're just not adept at listening to it. This is truly and deeply how we create connection, even through our fear. And again, just as a reminder, it's no guarantee that the person in front of you is going to be able to receive you, which is why being connected internally to yourself is so important. It's so, so, so important, because your relationship with you comes first. It comes first, because without the internal connection inside of yourself, you will lose yourself in another. So you don't have to get rid of fear in order to be connected. In fact, you'll have moments for sure where the fear isn't there. But every time you start, like you show just another side of yourself, fear is going to come up. But when fear comes up, can you stop checking out, hiding away, and instead step forward just a little bit? And every time you come back into yourself and choose to move from a place of intention that I want to create connection here, even though I feel a little nervous, a little awkward, a little strange, like I might be too much, you are teaching your nervous system that honesty and connection can coexist with discomfort. So let the next moment of feeling any of that fear come up be an invitation to first return into you, connecting into your body, breathing, connecting into who you are and what you truly desire or want to say. And then see if you can take a tiny little step for a connection. And your invitation is to choose one relationship, one tiny moment this week. Could be with a server in a restaurant, cashier in their grocery store, your husband or wife, and then you're going to pause and check in with your inner wisdom inside of you and take one brave step towards deeper connection. It may even be, I just got this image in my mind, it may even be you really, really need a hug. So instead of pretending you don't, you ask, hey, could I have a hug right now? And you let yourself take the step through the fear of being vulnerable and you receive the hug. And then that just doubles down on how your nervous system gets to feel connected, because hugs are incredible ways to create connection. Thank you so much for being here with me, and thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, or you would like me to talk or answer a question on the podcast, please send me a message on Instagram, or send me an email, or send me a voice note on SpeakPipe. All the links are in the show notes of this episode. Wishing you the most beautiful and wonderful and easeful day.